Hey everybody, Matty here with Altcoin Buzz. There's a lot to smile about today if you're a devotee in the world of cryptocurrency and Bitcoin in particular. We're going to be discussing the decoupling of Bitcoin from the S&P 500. That is to reiterate some of the observations that Frank made earlier in this video here. Something incredible is happening right now. Be sure to watch that from earlier in the day if you have not already. He makes some extremely important points that, again, it's never financial advice, but these may be actionable observations that you may want to take action on depending on your outlook, depending on whether you share our point of view. That is extremely important. Bitcoin right now up 2.3% in these last 24 hours in a market that is pretty much otherwise tanking when you take a look at altcoins going all the way down. We have consistent losses across the board, and yet the market is up 1.1% overall, $369.6 billion. That's because Bitcoin is leading the charge here. It has a dominance that is also growing 59.5%. You're literally seeing right now hundreds of analysts that are pointing to this same observation, the fact that really for the longest time you've had fairly close correlation between here in the red you have Bitcoin and in the blue you have the S&P 500 index. They've been correlated for the longest time. They've moved roughly speaking together now in terms of their price movement for months and years. And although this is just preliminary, although this is really just the last 24 hours, we're seeing a pretty major decoupling right now with Bitcoin up about 3% in these last 24 hours and the S&P 500 index down 2% and change, which for many is signaling a major move here. Again, we're just at the very outset of this. We're at about 24 hours into this observation, into this pattern, but that's pretty significant and it breaks ranks with a lot of what we've seen historically. And let's face it, guys, for the longest time, Bitcoin has been extremely dependent on news, whether positive or negative. Positive news has sometimes moved things to the upside, but we've been hampered for the most part by so much FUD in this space. So this decoupling is a partial holy grail almost in effect in terms of what the analysts are looking for in the price movement of Bitcoin. This full decoupling, decorrelation or inverse correlation with some of the more traditional indices here. And we're now on blockchain.news. We're getting some information from Morgan Stanley. According to their chief investment strategist, Mike Wilson, the S&P 500 stock market index is very likely to drop by 10% in the near term. This is because he stipulated that the stock market was likely to plummet before gaining bullish momentum. Wilson attributed the headwinds faced by the stock market to factors such as uncertainty, of course, revolving the upcoming U.S. elections, which are now just 2 weeks away. They're coming up fast. Also, the lack of a stimulus package and agreement and the never-ending wave of COVID infections. He said, quote, "With so many uncertainties over the next month, we think another 10% correction for Monday's highs is the most likely outcome in the near term before this bull market can resume." And it brings me no satisfaction to report it, but you're seeing a lot of negative price performance in terms of the stock market across the board right now. A lot of prices, a lot of stocks, and a lot of indices as well are plummeting. Let's get Michael Saylor's perspective on this. Of course, he is the CEO of MicroStrategy, one of the early companies that really put their neck out and invested in Bitcoin as a fundamental allocation in their treasury. In fact, this article that we were just on talks a little bit about that. With the economic uncertainty and stock turbulence, this has onboarded more retail investors to seek Bitcoin as a hedge, and why not? Even institutional giants such as Square, Jack Dorsey's company, and MicroStrategy have taken to Bitcoin to secure their treasury reserves, pouring millions into the cryptocurrency. In fact, in the case of Michael Saylor and MicroStrategy, we're talking over 400 million US dollars. That is how much is represented in the form of their Bitcoin treasury allocation. 450 some odd million, I believe. And speaking of the man himself, we have Michael Saylor at Michael_Saylor on Twitter. Make sure you're following. Bitcoin is an arc of encrypted energy to escape the currency flood. So very biblical in terms of his analogies and whatnot, but I can't disagree with that. And look, there is some truth to that because we're seeing some very strong numbers in terms of the Bitcoin hash rate here. And again, guys, this represents the security of the network. This represents the difficulty with which the algorithm needs to be solved. So an increasing hash rate over the course of a historical chart is a very good thing to see. Right now, we're on the 2-year window, but you can zoom in really as much as you like here, even going into the 3-month view. The important trend to observe overall is that we are moving up, and you can view this as always either in linear or logarithmic fashion. For a more simplified version of the chart here, you can take a look at the total terahashes. We're moving in the upward direction, which means the network is becoming more secure, is becoming more reliable, and as always, more tamper-proof, which is probably the #1 priority for a project or an idea or a revolution, really, like Bitcoin. You know, I believe I've mentioned it in the past, but this is probably the one metric, the one variable that I track that gives me more confidence in Bitcoin as a project and as a network, I guess, in the literal sense. This is the one variable that gives me more confidence than anything else, because it's really just an idea until you back it up mathematically here. This is a representation of the difficulty, which is increasing, which is strengthening that network, which is making it more secure and more reliable. So very, very encouraging to see indeed. Let me know your thoughts about what you think it'll take, guys, for Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies by extension to fully decouple themselves from the traditional Wall Street markets, from the traditional financial sector. I think we're moving in the right direction here, and this decoupling-ish, again, it's only been 24 hours or so, but it's a pretty strong signal and a pretty strong start. I think this will really be, I think, a positive catalyst in that direction. Right now, at the time of this recording, we're still below 12K, but if we can move beyond that range, then I think it's potentially off to the races. We'll have to wait and see. Just a couple of quick competitions and whatnot news, guys, housekeeping to alert you to as we wrap up the video here. Crypto.com on Twitter. We're giving away 20 iPhone 12 Pros for a chance to win. All you have to do is the following: buy crypto in the Crypto.com app, use your Visa card or your debit card. You have between now and the 31st of October, Halloween. Full details are on blog.crypto.com. Also from Crypto.com, now live for 24 hours only. Elrond Gold, EGLD, is 50% off. You can participate with 2 simple steps. Stake 5,000 CRO and trade $5,000 on the exchange over the last 30 days. You can sign up here using the link. The more CRO you stake, the greater your potential allocation. All right, that about wraps it up for today, everybody. Do be sure you're following us on all the regular social media channels and keep checking back into the website. It is altcoinbuzz.io for all the latest. Go ahead, like, subscribe, and share. If you enjoyed today's video, hit the bell as well to receive notifications. Again, let me know your thoughts about Bitcoin, about the S&P 500, about where we're moving. Is 12K likely? Maybe we've hit 12K by the time you're watching this video, to be quite honest. I think it is imminent. That's always been my opinion, that we're approaching kind of this imminent event that can only be pushed off so far. So for the Michael Saylors of the world, for the Jack Dorseys of the world that are already confident in this, it's kind of preaching to the choir, and the same can be said for you guys. But I think more and more people are going to start paying attention once we break through that next critical threshold. Just my point of view. Let me know whether you agree or disagree in the comments below, guys. But stay safe out there, everybody. Best of luck if you choose to invest on this Tuesday. And as always, we do hope to see you again soon in our next video. Take care.